Hi, I'm Taya Williams. Thank you for joining me here on Taya's Sweet Aroma. Today I'm going to be sharing with you the recipe for my banana pancakes. If you follow me over on Instagram, you may remember that I shared some clips a few weeks back of me making these banana pancakes. And during that time, I topped the pancakes with some homemade syrup that I had made, but the only reason I did it that way during that time is because I didn't have any heavy cream on hand to make my caramel syrup. Now, if you decide to give these pancakes a try, I recommend that you go check out the recipe, watch the video of my homemade caramel syrup, and you will see what I mean when I say that that warm caramel syrup on top of these deliciously flavored moist pancakes just makes them 10 times better. I mean, those two flavors together they just go so well. These pancakes happen to be my kids, well, one of my kids' favorite pancakes flavors for me to make. And my youngest daughter requested that I make them a few days ago for her birthday. And I had some extra bananas left over, so I decided to go ahead and share the recipe with you. Before we get started though, there are a couple of things that I wanted to point out. The main thing, and I want to stress, the most important thing about this recipe is you want to make sure that you use ripened bananas. Now, I've had these at home for a week now, and these I just bought a few days ago. You can see that these are still green. These are turning brown. They look like they're going bad, but this is what you want your bananas to look like whenever you're cooking with them, whether you're baking or sauteing them in some sauce, whatever it is, you want to make sure that they look like this. This is when they are at their sweetest, they're the best. They just blend better, even in the recipes you use them in. So make sure your bananas are ripened. The other thing I wanted to point out is that I'm gonna be making homemade buttermilk for this recipe. And the way that I do my buttermilk is I take some apple cider vinegar. If you don't have apple cider, you could go ahead and just use some plain white vanilla, some white vinegar, but I like to use apple cider, just gives it a little bit more flavor, I think. So what I do is I take 4 teaspoons of the apple cider vinegar into my measuring cup, then I pour in some whole milk up to the 1 cup line, give it a stir, and then it's ready for me. Aside from that, all the ingredients, unlike when you're baking, they do not have to be at room temperature. You can make them cold, which makes it that much better because then you don't have to wait a few hours for everything to come to room temperature. And I think that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna go ahead, get everything finish prepping everything and get things cleared away, and then we'll go over the ingredients. The ingredients you're gonna need for this recipe is some vegetable oil, some melted butter, granulated sugar, eggs, whole milk, ground cinnamon, baking powder, baking soda, some salt, as well as some nutmeg, which I will be grating directly over the batter. Also some all-purpose flour, my bananas that I've mashed. The buttermilk, as you can see, has thickened up nicely, and also some pure vanilla extract. To get started, we're gonna start out by adding in the sugar to the flour, as well as the cinnamon, baking soda, baking powder, and salt. I'm gonna grate in just a little bit of nutmeg, give everything a whisk. Now this is the easy part. It's just all about adding everything into the flour mixture at this stage. You wanna add in your buttermilk, your milk, your eggs, vegetable oil, the bananas, a couple of teaspoons of vanilla, and the melted butter. If you did not want to use butter in the batter, you can go ahead and just do all vegetable oil. I like to have a little of the butter flavor, so I add some of the butter into the batter. I'm also going to be using more butter on the skillet, which you'll see here in a bit when I am cooking up the pancakes. So you want to give this batter a quick little whisk. It's gonna be slightly lumpy, which you don't want to overmix your batter, just like when you're making cakes. Just make sure everything gets well combined. Okay, I'm gonna stop whisking right about there. You can see that everything has had a chance to get nicely combined. The batter is nice and thick, slightly lumpy, which is exactly the texture you're looking for. I'm gonna go ahead and move everything to the back so we can get started cooking the pancakes. What I like to do before I get started is I like to have my skillet nice and hot and well oiled. Then before I add the batter on, I add a little bit of butter. Then using a 1/3 cup measurer, I go ahead and add on some of the batter. And what that extra butter is gonna do is it's gonna add a really nice crust around the edges of the pancake, which you'll see here in just a bit. You can tell when your pancake is ready to flip because it will start to develop some really nice air bubbles on the top, and you will see it start to rise. If you take your spatula underneath it and it moves around and releases from the pan, then that's another way you can tell. And right there you can see that really nice crusty barrier. And whenever my pancake does that is I let it sit for just a little bit, and then I just take the back of my spatula just to keep it nice and round. I'm gonna go ahead and let this other side finish. The pancake is now done. I can tell by pressing it and it kind of fluffs back up at me. I want you to see that nice golden top that it has, as well as that crusty exterior, which the butter really helps with. And you can see how nicely thick the pancakes are. I'm gonna go ahead and finish doing the rest. One thing I do wanna point out is that if you're using a cast iron, you wanna make sure that in between each one, you add a little extra butter. That way it helps keep it from sticking. Just helps the pancake release a lot easier from the skillet. I'm gonna go ahead and finish getting the rest of the pancakes ready, and I will show you what they all look like when I'm done. This is the last bit of the batter. Gonna get it added onto the skillet. You can see here, try not to drop them, how nice and fluffy and thick all the pancakes have turned out. I'm gonna finish up with this last one, then I'll move them behind me so I can show you how I like to top them. This is the way we like to top our banana pancakes. Gonna add on some bananas. I have here some candied pecans that I've chopped up a little. You can add on walnuts as well as almonds would be good with this. Whatever kind of nut you have on hand, or no nuts at all if you don't like any. Gonna dollop on a good amount of cinnamon cream here that we whipped up. A little more. I like extra cream. Now I'm gonna take some of my caramel syrup that I heated up in the microwave. You can heat it up on the stove. Just make sure that if you do it over the stove that you do it at a low temperature. Look at that. So delicious. Oh, it smells amazing too. You can see how light and fluffy the pancakes are. I wanna cut into these so I could show you the center of them. Take a look at that. Nice, moist. Get some of the whipped cream. You can really smell that banana and caramel. It just smells so good together. Gonna give it a try. It's like dessert for breakfast, which is why I'm sure the kids like to have these pancakes for breakfast. It is so good. The pancakes are just nice and moist. That cream kind of lightens things up a bit, and that caramel sauce, it makes it, oh, it makes it. You gotta add that caramel sauce over the top. It's so good. I'll be sure in the link below in the description box below to include a link where you can find the caramel sauce as well as this recipe over on my blog. Give this recipe a try. Oh, I think you are gonna enjoy these pancakes just as much as we do. And one other thing I wanna mention before I let you go is that the good thing about bananas is that they are available year-round. So it's not like other fruits where they're like strawberries or berries. They're more sweeter in the summertime. Whereas with bananas, it's all up to you. Just given them some time to ripen. They taste the same all year round, so that is why I like working with bananas and including them in recipes, because they're just the same every single time you cook them, no matter what time of the year it is. And anyhow, I thank you for spending time with me here today. I hope that you give this recipe a try. I hope you like it. If you give it a try, let me know down in the comments below how they turn out for you. And as always, I thank you for spending time with me here today, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye.